We help people with modern day technology. I'm DJ. I'm going to be helping you with software.
I'm Dustin. I'll be helping you with hardware.
Together,
We are 2D Nerds! This is how you properly terminate Cat5 or Cat6 cable using my favorite connectors, the Platinum Tools EZ-RJ45. These are very special RJ45 connectors, and I'll show you why. You can see they're very different from others. The ends are completely hollow. This is to allow the wires to pass all the way through the connector so you can verify the wire colors and pull them nice and tight, thus keeping the twist as close to the jacket and connector as possible. You don't have to fumble with a bunch of tiny little wires that you gotta jam in there just right somehow and hope you get them right. You can verify that they're correct. Therefore, you can run a true gigabit with no problems at all. So the first thing you do is strip the cable back really far. Give yourself a good foot. This cable is not that expensive. It's not worth trying to save every single inch of the cable. You'd rather have more to work with to make it easier than have not enough. And then you make sure that you did not nick any of the wires. Then you separate out the twisted pairs into the correct colors. I like to go in orange, green, blue, and brown. The correct order is orange stripe, orange, green stripe, blue, blue stripe, green, brown stripe, brown. That is the industry standard for proper cable pinout. The reason the colors matter is, if you'll notice, each color is twisted differently. Some have a tight twist to it, some have a really loose twist. And that's imperative that you get that in the right order so that it eliminates any crosstalk. Then untwist the pairs. Don't untwist them too far. If you untwist them too far, you won't get a true gigabit connection. You'll only run at 1000 instead of gigabit. So don't untwist past the jacket. This cable happens to be stranded cable rather than solid, which is more common. I prefer stranded because it pulls a lot easier in your attic or through conduit, and you can use it easily for interconnects between like your modem and router, and no matter how much you bend it to a degree, you're not going to break the cable. Whereas with solid, if you bend it too much, you can end up breaking one of the wires inside. That's a bad thing. Being that it's stranded wire, it may want to bunch up on you when you try and push it into the connector. You just pull it back out, straighten it nice, and push it in, and it'll go right through. Sometimes you might need to take the dikes or scissors or cutters and cut the tips at an angle, the tips of the wire, so that it kind of is like a needle and just threads right through the end of the connector. And then we're going to put these in one at a time and pull it out and fold it behind itself, like so. And we'll go in order. Orange stripe, then orange, then green stripe, then blue stripe, then green, then brown stripe, and finally brown. Then pull the wires out nice and tight. Then we're going to verify the color sequence. Orange stripe, orange, green stripe, blue stripe, green, brown stripe, and brown. And I like to twist the ends of them together so they go through the crimper easier. And we put it into the crimper in the proper place. There's a 6P or 6 position and a 8P or 8 position. Cat5 or RJ45 connectors are all 8P or 8 position. So we're going to put it in here and just crimp down on it. I like to do it twice just to be sure. These are not your normal dikes or diagonal cutters. They're known as dikes. Yes, I know nowadays that's not such a great word. In the electrical trade, as electricians, these are known as dikes. They're short for diagonal cutters. So, I don't know. I guess that's how they got the name. Whatever. I call them dikes. And I'm not ashamed of it. But these are not your normal dikes, as you can tell. These are called gate cutters. These are made by Gate Pro. I'll leave a link in the description if I can find them. This particular pair is over 10 years old. I got them from my last job. Gate cutters specifically are used for molding, either in the rubber or plastic molding fields. And they're made to cut the gates. They're called gate cutters because the gate is where the rubber or plastic will flow through in a 2-part injection molding system. And when it comes out of the molds, you have to snip that excess off. And so these are called gate cutters. The reason I like gate cutters so much more than regular dikes is they cut perfectly flush with the surface you touch it to. Most dikes have an inward angle that do not cut perfectly flush, including clines. There are some that are precision, very special things that you can find. I've never been able to find them at my local Home Depot, so I get these. I'll link them in the description below. So now we're going to cut the wires off. We do that by placing the dikes flush, and you'll cut a little bit of the tab off. That's perfectly okay. There's more than enough plastic to support it. Make sure it's nice and flush, and one good solid snip, and there it is. If you do it right the first time, there will be no wires that short across each other. This has been a 2D Nerds production. Nerdify your life, one video at a time. Oh no, he didn't!
Oh no! Oh no! Don't do it!
Stay nerdy, my friends.